They say that disappointment is a part of life, and that's true. Sometimes the person you fall for doesn't feel the same way about you. The job you really want goes to that jerk who doesn't deserve it. And beloved literary properties that we hold dear get dumped on. Well, that's exactly what happened with Disney's 2005 retelling of The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe. They had the chance to make something beautiful, but you know what they did instead? Well, they gave Morgrim an American accent is what they did. But praise be, Hollywood can never keep a good horse down, and soon Netflix will begin production on their own Narnia-based narrative. So we're going to dive into what we know so far and unveil what Netflix can learn from the previous iterations. But before we do, we'd be grateful if you could give the video a like. Just one little like. And if you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about weekly videos all about film and TV. Anyway, I'm Stephen from Unmissable Movies. Let's go to Narnia together. But be warned, for the entire duration of this video, only a second will go by in real time. Oh, no, that's not true. So let's begin with what Netflix can learn from what's gone before. Well, the 1970s telling of The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe can't give us much. Most 70s cartoons famously only have one goal, and that's to make the animation as terrifyingly 70s as possible. It still has moments, but Netflix shouldn't be looking at this for inspiration. Then we have the BBC production, which adapted 4 of the 7 books. I can't think of many things I'd sooner watch if I was off sick or needing a cozy afternoon on the sofa. The Pevensey children are brilliant, and while not looking like their illustrated counterparts, they all carry something true to the characters. The White Witch is scary as hell, the Professor is subtle, wise, and professorial. Aslan himself looks like a lion, and even though the dialogue doesn't fit the mouth movements, it doesn't matter. There are elements that now feel super dated, but it's a faithful, charming adaptation. There are definitely things the fat cats at Netflix could learn from this, especially as they're making a series as well as movies. Then we have the Disney films. When Disney jumped in with their version, they ballsed it right up and they forgot what book they were adapting. It began well, don't get me wrong. The air raid over London was a genius place to start. The music as they boarded the train to be evacuated was absolutely stunning. The first few minutes made me think we were onto a winner, but then they made countless missteps and derailed the whole thing. You've got the Professor, who looks like he'd be more at home on a Nickelodeon show about a mad scientist dad who embarrasses his daughters. You've got Mr. Beaver, who speaks in Cockney rhyming slang. What is that all about? Seriously, in the context of this film, how does this magical creature from another world know a specific London-based custom like this? It's bizarre. And before you internet people get all internety on me, I know Jadis came into our world, but I don't believe she took Cockney rhyming slang back with her, let alone teach it to the beaver. You've got Morgrim, who speaks with a blasted American accent. For a film that Lord of the Rings pretty hard, they didn't learn this important detail that you can't just throw in any accent, certainly not one as modern as American. The Lord of the Rings was 90% vague English accents, with a smattering of other British regional accents. Can you imagine if Gandalf had been all, "You shall not pass"? Anyway, they also tried too hard to make it feel like Lord of the Rings. The battle sequences, the sweeping landscapes of New Zealand, they just didn't know what film they wanted. Plus, Mr. Beaver kept calling Aslan, Aslan. Unforgivable. There were some good elements. The children were all strong, McAvoy was great, the "My name is Philip" horse gag was really good, but that's pretty much it. So, now that the story is getting another outing, we hope they avoid some of the clear errors that came before. But how much do we know about it? Well, news of Netflix teaming up with C.S. Lewis's estate landed in 2018, but with very little detail. What we do know, however, is that Netflix has a multi-year deal and that they'll be giving us multiple film and TV projects, all based on the books of Narnia. Alongside the original announcement, Ted Sarandos, who's the head of content at Netflix, said, C.S. Lewis's beloved Chronicles of Narnia stories have resonated with generations of readers around the world, adding, families have fallen in love with the characters like Aslan and the entire world of Narnia, and were thrilled to be their home for years to come. It was also stated that they'll be turning Narnia into a universe. Why studios feel the need to use this language is beyond me. Narnia is already its own world. You don't need to make it into a universe. Marvel nailed this formula, but elsewhere, it's not going so well. Look at the DCEU and the ill-fated Dark Universe. Neither have exactly got it right. Telling everyone from the off that they want to create an extended universe model just seems desperate. It's a bit like telling someone on your first date how you want to celebrate your 50th wedding anniversary. Don't do it. I do hope they get this right though. It seems they'll be positioning the series to go up against the likes of Game of Thrones and the MCU, but for a far more family-orientated audience. One of the greatest things about this deal is that Netflix will have the rights to all 7 books. This means some of the later books that have never seen screen adaptations before could be coming to Netflix where previous owners of the license haven't been able to. How they approach the order will be interesting, as the first book chronologically, The Magician's Nephew, came out years after the actual first book, The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe. I think The Magician's Nephew is a logical place to start. Prequels that land in the middle of a series never come off for me. It's like the Temple of Doom being a prequel to Raiders. It just doesn't work or feel like a prequel. We also now know that the co-writer for Disney Pixar's Coco, a multi-award-winning movie, will be working on Narnia. In a tweet, Netflix's See What Next said, "The co-writer of Coco, Matthew Aldrich, will serve as the creative architect and oversee the development of all films and shows adapted from C.S. Lewis's beloved Narnia universe for Netflix." Then, in June 2020, Narnia Web picked up on a Q&A with the manager of Matthew Aldrich, who stated that the Netflix projects will be done from the perspective of kids, saying, "Characters come from understanding people. Sometimes it's about having children. Matt can write kids right now because he has kids and he talks to them and he's trying to figure them out. He runs his scripts by them and he pitches them stories. When they get bored, he cuts it. When they get excited, he adds it. His 2 kids are his testing room." This is going to be crucial for striking the right balance, making sure that we as adults enjoy it, but also kids. Finally, viral posters went around earlier this year, and if this isn't enough to get you salivating, I don't know what will. Thanks so much for watching. Have you heard any details about this project that we haven't mentioned? If so, get involved in the comments section below. We'd also love to know who you think could be cast in the key roles. If you're new, please do subscribe, it really helps us out. And it'd be great if you could share it on Facebook and Twitter, your family newsletter, whatever. Anyway, thanks again, and we'll see you soon.